Good afternoon, everyone. I am Captain Jonathan Chapman. I'm with U.S. Cyber Command J6. At this time, I would like to introduce Ms. Kama Stone. Ms. Kama Stone is currently the Cyber Command's Cybersecurity Information Security Officer. Previously, cybersecurity has been in her blood. She's been an ISO for Special Operations Command. She was also an ISSM for the Tomahawk Weapon System. And previously held the position as the authorizing official. So at this time, I will hand it over to Ms. Kama Stone.
Good afternoon. Can everybody hear me? All right. Lima Charlie, as we used to say in the Navy, right, Chris? All right. So the theme for this week is outpacing the threat, align, adapt, and accelerate. So I'm going to go over some of the efforts that we've been conducting at U.S. Cyber Command in the last 18 months since I joined the team and the command. I'll highlight some of the things that we're doing to align, adapt, and accelerate. And then I will not take questions, but I'd love to have follow-on conversations with you. From my standpoint, that's where the value added is at these engagements, right? I like to have your strategic vision, your recommendations, and things of that nature to help us accelerate, align, adapt, and overcome. So with that being said, I'll get started. So as Captain Chapman mentioned, I'm the CISO for Cyber Command. And when I introduce myself as the CISO for Cyber Command, I get a lot of raised eyebrows. Oh, okay. As you may know, that's no easy task for us. The general response is the raised eyebrows, and it's a pretty difficult, difficult position. It's a challenging position being a compliance executive, most forward-leaning combatant command for cyber. And Cyber Command is a relative newbie with a short storied history. As many know, historically, defensive cyber operations has taken a backseat to offensive cyber operations within the command from a funding, resource, and recognition standpoint. I can proudly say that landscape is changing. My introduction to Cyber Command was in 2018 when I was assigned as the Information Systems Security Manager at Navy Information Operations Command in Pensacola. It was there that I discovered the overlap between CPT operations, the ATO process and risk management, the inspections, and the lack of communication and visibility between those cyber activities. In addition to that insight, I was also invited to build 2 Navy DCO toolkits in support of Fleet Cyber Command, and in accordance with U.S. Cyber Command's requirements for defensive cyber operations, using the Defense Mission Support System, DMSS. As a result, I became aware of tooling, automation, Title X data requirements, training pipeline, and limiting factors of all. I recognize some familiar vendors in the crowd. Thank you for joining us, as well as some folks that I've collaborated with in the past. As a result of my observations, it was then that I wrote a white paper that we execute today. Looking at the discrete cyber forces we have, maximize automation. I'm supposed to be at that too, by the way. Rescheduled from yesterday's fun. Maximizing automation, deconflict the roles and responsibilities, and communicate risk objectively to all stakeholders, from our operations to a cybersecurity standpoint. When I briefed the executive director and General Hawk, I promised them that cybersecurity and compliance will enable and not impede the warfighter, and that is our modicum in my office at U.S. Cyber Command. So how do we maximize automation, conduct continuous monitoring and risk management activities in a way that makes sense, uses existing activities like vulnerability management, cybersecurity and engineering, the risk management framework process, and continuous monitoring to supplement these tools and teams to ensure that we have data-driven, objective, risk-based information that can be communicated across cybersecurity, compliance, and operational entities in a way that makes sense, buys down risk, while not at the expense of compliance and in conflict with this checklist binary decision points. Yesterday in the opening keynote, General Hawk, as well as Ms. Beavers and General Skinner, all mentioned several talking points that I will reiterate today. Community of effort, culture, change, and a departure from the status quo. I have several engagements this week with vendors, with professionals, and peers in the cyber community, and I will continue to message this. If you are uncomfortable with change, you should not be in cyber. Admiral Rogers, former director of the NSA and commander of U.S. Cybercom, in February at the Munich Cybersecurity Conference stated the following: the U.S. and its allies need to step back and reassess which strategies are working in cyber and what needs to be changed. Addressing the audience at the Munich conference in February, Rogers said that Western countries experiencing record level of ransomware penetration and successful data extortions last year. It is necessary to explore alternative approaches in cyber defense. Continuing with the same strategies and expecting different outcomes is a low probability success strategy, he added. Among the things which in Rogers' opinion need to change are how countries respond to cyber incidents or defend themselves from threat actors is to shift the focus from effort to performance. And I know that before General Hawk departed, that was one of the things that he mentioned as well. How do we measure our success? Don't tell me how much money you spent or how many people are working on the problem. What I'm interested in are metrics that indicate those efforts that are translating into successful outcomes. By focusing on metrics, we're able to identify whether or not we are succeeding. Winston Churchill said, "Perfection is the enemy of progress." So taking a cue from Admiral Rogers' message, along with what we all know is the current state of affairs and the threat from our adversaries and our critical infrastructure, defense industrial base, supply chain, and cloud capabilities, we have developed a radical approach to defensive cyber operations. Cybersecurity service providers that I know are with us here, cyber operational forces, and an approach of inclusive policy and compliance that aligns to a data-centric strategy. As our guideposts, we'll use the DoD CIO's Endpoint Security Minimum Data Standards from August 2023, which include hardware, software, patch, vulnerability, and operational context, as well as user data and other data sets included. In addition, we'll use the FISMA 2023-2024 IG metrics, cybersecurity framework, which include identify, protect, detect, respond, and recover. Cybersecurity framework provides agencies with a common structure for identifying and managing cybersecurity risk across the enterprise and provides IGs with guidance to assess the maturity of controls to assess those risks. To note, these activities are outlined in the DoD 8530 instruction and manuals, NIST standards, Joint Pub 3 TAC 12, and a multitude of orders, including cyber tasking orders. You've received information this week from DoD CIO, principal cyber advisors, U.S. Cybercom, and DoD stakeholders regarding Fulcrum, Cora, JICWA, and other efforts that are a result of our collaboration and communication. We have the unique opportunity amongst the respective organizations and are at the precipice of great change in the defensive cyber operations community. Several weeks ago, we conducted the CSSP working group, where the culmination of policy, governance, guidance intersected with CIO-mandated efforts including zero trust, UAM, insider threat, supply chain risk management, and current operational missions including responses to living off the land, Volt Typhoon, and cyber tasking orders. In conjunction with the working group and an effort to operationalize CSSPs, we will continue to work with DoD CIO, PCA DoD to establish clear roles and responsibilities, create objective cybersecurity dashboard that will allow operational commanders and risk executives alike to make decisions in near real time, as well as discreetly use our cyber operations forces in a way that maximizes people, processes, and technology. In March, I briefed the Joint Cyber Warfare Architecture Forum regarding our plan to develop a NOC SOC strategy for JICWA that includes a data-forward strategy using unified platform resources, and onboarding based off of a reciprocity ATO strategy for my RMF staff. So as we absorb those risk management framework responsibilities, we're assessing their defensive cyber operations and their CSSP services to ensure that that continuous monitoring of those systems is being conducted in conjunction with granting the ATO. That time I outlined an aggressive timeline that includes initial operational capability projected for the summer of 2025, which I can proudly say is on schedule, including limited resources, competing funding, and a constantly evolving task prioritization. So despite those limb facts, we're continuing on with the plan. Cybercom J6 has done a phenomenal job of communication, collaboration, consistent engagement, and teamwork with the JICWA subcomponents, namely Unified Platform, JCW, JCC2. With that being said, there remains a plethora of work to do, and redesigning the defensive cyber landscape is no easy task, but I have confidence and faith that with the support and under direction of current leadership, now is the time to take appropriate action and ensure we have observability into our assets, infrastructure, and can defend against our adversaries regardless of the attack vector, nation state, and aggressiveness of their actions. If there is no struggle, there is no progress, Frederick Douglass said. Right? It's going to be uncomfortable, but we're going to get it done. Please keep in mind these efforts are radical, transformative, and have come at the expense of discomfort across the efforts. Every stakeholder has an opinion regarding which direction we should be moving, advocates for that direction strongly and passionately, and oftentimes everybody is right. As mentioned previously, the theme for this year's TechNet is Align, Adapt, and Accelerate. I will take the opportunity now to demonstrate progress made on behalf of the Command, the Directorate, and my staff regarding this modicum and challenge to the community to follow our lead. From a risk management framework standpoint, we have developed a repeatable, trainable, documented process that uses our critical controls to establish an acceptable risk threshold that fuses the cybersecurity compliance requirements and enables the operational community to conduct cyber operations using reciprocity for externally approved resources, enables automation and capabilities in direct response to threats in the Indo-PACOM AOR. DoD-CIO recently signed out his reciprocity strategy, and we are executing that and accelerating that in support of direct named operations for U.S. Cyber Command. Additionally, we allow a pilot to be conducted to assess data risk and governance in our unclassified environment successfully with findings. This resulted in an open, transparent communication regarding our data risk posture, proved the ability to test and field in DoD infrastructure from a vendor, rapidly test and acquire a commercial product that accelerated our insider threat and zero trust posture. Additionally, our team, in response to requests from the Cyber National Mission Force, has established cybersecurity TTPs to facilitate the use of large language models in the Hunt Forward Toolkit, as first announced by General Hartman at RSA and mentioned yesterday in the keynote from General Hawk. These approaches mean continued balance between our cybersecurity compliance, policy, risk, and operations to ensure we align, adapt, and accelerate amongst the cyber community, including the department, partners, industry, and the like. T.S. Eliot said, "Only those who risk going too far can possibly find out how far one can go. I will push the envelope for as long as they let me." I've had extremely encouraging discussions with the C-suite executives, vendors, mission partners, and cyber stakeholders this week that has only encouraged and validated our approach. That being said, I insist on not replicating previous problems and strategizing in a vacuum and stovepipes of excellence, duplicating effort inefficiently, and not moving the needle as far forward as we could have collectively. I implore you to communicate and provide feedback, information, insight, constructive criticism to all stakeholders mentioned previously. This is a community of effort, and as such, varying levels of cybersecurity roles should be consulted regarding our vision. From acquisition roles like program manager to RMF roles like information security or information system owner, ISSOs, ISSMs, ISSEs, information security system engineers, to NOC SOC roles such as cybersecurity analysts, incident responders, and cyber warfighters. We have this unique opportunity and time to truly affect impactful, meaningful change that can and will be our legacy if conducted successfully. One last quote from Henry Ford. He said, "Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right." That's all I had for today. I welcome you to have conversations with me follow on over here on the side, but I will not be taking questions this afternoon. Thank you.